Rose, must you always act like I owe you my life? I'm tired of this whole thing between us." The words came out from Sam's mouth so sharp that Rose froze. She had only asked why he ignored her calls all through the week. Her throat became tight. "Owe you, after everything I did for you, that's what you call it? Debt?" Sam hissed and rolled his eyes like a man tired of hearing the same thing. His new wristwatch shined. "I thank you, Rose, I really do. But things have changed. I've changed. Can't you see it?" Tears quickly filled Rose's eyes, tears of a broken woman who just heard the worst news of her life. Her voice shook as she said, "Changed? Is that why you treat me like I don't matter? Like the woman who stood by you in your darkest days is now a load?" He looked at her with the cold face of a stranger, and in that silence, Rose felt her heart breaking slowly. But Rose did not know her life was about to shatter even more in a way she could never imagine. This is not only the story of a man's betrayal, it is the story of a woman who gave everything for love, only to be thrown away like trash. It is a story of heartbreak, shame, and pain so deep it can crush the soul. Yet inside that pain, there were more. A stranger, a secret, and a destiny that would change her shame to honor. Follow this story till the end, because betrayal may laugh for a short time, but destiny always laughs last. Sam and Rose were two lover birds, but once their story was different. Rose was no stranger to suffering. The first daughter of a poor widow in Enugu, she had carried responsibility since childhood, helping her mother sell fruits in the market. When she met Sam in church, she believed God had finally remembered her. He was just a junior clerk, wearing faded shirts and rough shoes, but his words were full of dreams. "Rose," he said, holding her hands like a promise, "I won't remain like this forever. I'll rise, and when I rise, you'll be beside me as my wife." Those words became Rose's hope. She sacrificed without end. She sold her mother's wrapper to pay his exam fees. She cooked for him with her last money. She borrowed from friends to pay for his forms. She even refused her aunt's offer to sponsor her tailoring training, saying, "If Sam makes it, we both make it." Her friends laughed at her. "Rose, you are wasting your youth. Men forget easily." She would only smile. "Not Sam, he's not like that." For a time, she believed she was right. Then it happened. Sam was promoted. His salary tripled. He moved into a finer apartment, started wearing neat shirts and perfumes Rose had never seen before. To her, it was their answered prayer. She began secretly saving for their wedding, dreaming of children running around a small house full of laughter. But soon, cracks started to show. Sam started changing. When she called, he replied hours later with excuses. When she visited, he looked restless, like she was disturbing him. When she mentioned marriage, he brushed her aside. "Let's not rush, Rose. There's time." He stopped going to her mother's fruit stall, stopped playing with her siblings. One evening, Rose noticed his expensive perfume and she made a compliment. "Sam, this perfume is really nice. Where did you buy it?" He shifted on his chair uncomfortably. "A colleague gave it to me." Then he changed the topic. Rose's chest tightened, but she forced herself to believe him. Still, something didn't feel right. One Saturday, Sam told her he would be busy at work. Worried, Rose decided to surprise him. She cooked his favorite food and cleaned his apartment. While arranging his wardrobe, her hand touched an envelope hidden inside old files. Out of curiosity, she opened it. Inside was a glossy photograph. Her heart stopped. It was Sam, wearing a suit, smiling, with his arm around a tall, beautiful woman. The woman wore a shining gown with a diamond ring on her finger. Rose's hands shook badly. At the bottom of the photo was a printed card. "Congratulations to Sam and Clara on their engagement." The envelope fell from her hand. She sat on the bed, holding the photo like a knife had pierced her chest. So this was it. This explains everything. The late-night calls, the perfumes, the distance. Sam was not just pulling away, he was engaged. And he never said a word. Rose pressed the photo to her chest and tears poured from her eyes. Memories about the nights she starved, the debts she carried, the dreams she dropped because of him, all came rushing back. Her voice cracked into the empty room. "So, Sam, after everything, this is how you pay me back?" She wept bitterly. Her loud cries filled the apartment. It was now that Rose realized that love could actually kill without blood. Her night became a moment of deep felt pain and hurt. The photograph of Sam and the strange woman burned inside her chest like fire. Each time she closed her eyes, the picture came again. Sam smiling beside another woman celebrating an engagement she knew nothing about. By morning, her eyes were swollen, but her mind was clear. She needed answers, and she must demand for it. She rushed into his apartment holding the photo. "Sam," she shouted the moment he opened the door. He blinked. "Rose, what is this madness?" "Madness?" Her voice shook. She pushed the picture on his chest. "Explain this. Who is she? What is this engagement?" For a moment, Sam froze. Then his lips turned into a proud smile. "So you found it?" Rose's mouth opened wide. "It's true? You're engaged, and you could not even tell me?" Sam adjusted his shirt, calm, like nothing had happened. "Rose, stop behaving like a victim. Life moves on. I can't remain in the same spot forever." Her chest rose and fell fast. "Same spot? You call me that? Sam, I gave you everything. My youth, my money, my pride, and this is how you pay me back." He moved closer and spoke in a sharp voice this time. "Listen, I respect what you did, but respect is not marriage. Clara is the daughter of a wealthy man. With her, my future is sure. Doors will open that your poverty can never open." The words hit Rose harder than a slap. She staggered back, with tears flowing from her eyes, tears of hurt and pain. "So, you are leaving me because I am poor?" She stammered, still not believing that those words came out of Sam's mouth. Sam's silence was the loudest answer. Rose left crying. 2 days later, Rose saw them together. She was in the market when laughter made her turn. There was Sam, walking hand in hand with the woman in the photo. Clara was tall, fine, and dressed in wealth. She held Sam like he belonged to her. Their eyes met. Sam quickly looked away, but Clara smiled with pride. She leaned close and said loudly, "Is this the one you told me about? The girl you were managing before you found me?" Rose's knees almost gave way. People turned to stare and murmurs filled over the place. Rose's voice cracked. "Sam, after everything?" Clara laughed, her voice cut like blade. "Don't disgrace yourself. Men don't stay in the mud when they can enter a palace, my dear. Take heart." She mocked. Rose felt so humiliated and ashamed. She dropped her basket and ran, tears almost blinding her eyes as mocking voices followed behind. Back home, Mama rushed to her side. "Rose, what happened?" Rose didn't say a word. She entered the house, took the photo and fell on the floor as she handed it to her mother to finally see. Mama gasped. "Jesus, so it's true. After all your sacrifices, he is marrying another woman," Rose cried loudly. "Yes, Mama, he said I am too poor, that I don't fit in his life." Mama's eyes filled with tears, but her tone was strong. "Didn't I warn you? Didn't I say men forget quickly? You gave him everything, and now he has left you empty." Rose covered her face with her hands. The pin in her heart felt too heavy to carry. The days after were worse. The news spread all over the town. Whenever she walked, whispers followed her. "So it's true. That boy left her for a rich girl. After all her sacrifices, she wasted her youth." Nawa'o, women never learn. Even her friends kept their distance. Some pitied her quietly, but others mocked her openly. Rose withdrew into herself, stopped going to the market, and spent her nights shaking from memories of Sam's promises. She felt really heartbroken and even lost the taste of food, and just when she thought it could not get worse, it did. One faithful Sunday, Rose forced herself to attend church, hoping for comfort. But there they were, Sam and Clara, sitting proudly in front, holding hands. The pastor announced their coming wedding, praising Sam for finding favor and calling Clara a blessing from a rich home. The congregation clapped. Each clap landed on Rose's heart like a whip. Her body shook. She walked out crying deeply before the service ended. Her heart broke into pieces. That night, as sleep seemed to escape her, Rose whispered into the dark, "God, why? Why did you allow me to waste my years on a man who would throw me away like dirt?" What sin did I commit to deserve this shame? Her tears soaked her pillow until sleep finally came. But little did she know that her story had only just started. Her life became only a shadow of what it used to be. The days after Sam's betrayal moved slowly. The girl who once walked with her head high now moved like a ghost, fixing her eyes always on the ground to avoid people's whispers. But the whispers kept coming. People murmured. So her lovebird later left her even after she wasted all her youth on him. Rose acted like she didn't hear, but their words shattered her even more. At home, Mama's voice carried pity mixed with anger. "Didn't I warn you? You put your whole life into one man. Now see where you are." "Mama, please," Rose begged with tears in her eyes. "Don't remind me. My heart is already bleeding." Meanwhile, Sam was busy showing off his new life. He and Clara walked around town like king and queen, entering every place in matching clothes and laughing loudly at gatherings. Every time Rose saw them, it felt like another knife inside her chest. But the worst pain came one evening. Rose was coming back from where she went to deliver some foodstuff to a customer when a fine car stopped beside her. The tinted glass rolled down and Sam's voice called, "Rose." She stopped, shocked. Her stomach turned. "What do you want?" she asked. He smiled. "You're still beautiful, still the Rose I knew." She gave him a hard look. "Beautiful? After you disgraced me in front of everybody?" Sam leaned closer. "Listen, Rose, you and I know what we had was real. Clara is my career, my future, but that doesn't mean I still don't want you." Rose's blood boiled. "What rubbish are you saying?" He smiled naughtily, came down from the car and wanted to hold her waist. "You know what I mean, Rose. Play wise. We can still be close. Nobody has to know. I can take care of you." Rose dropped her tray. Her body shook with anger. "You think I'll reduce myself to your side, woman, after everything I did for you? Don't overreact. Life could be easier for you." He said. Rose spat on the ground. "Never. You threw me away in public but want me in secret? Oh, I'm only good for you to have a secret affair with, right? You must be stupid. I'd rather starve than let you touch me again." Sam's smile disappeared. He frowned, entered his car, wound up the glass and drove off, leaving Rose trembling with both pain and pride. That night, Rose cried again, but this time anger mixed with her tears. Her body grew weak. Mama noticed her clothes were becoming worn out and old. And Rose? She had no money, no work, no hope. One afternoon, while coming back from the market, Rose felt dizzy, her eyes blurred and her legs gave way. She fell, her goods scattered into the dust. "Ah, see Rose, Sam's ex. She has fainted." "Who will help her?" people murmured. Nobody came forward. Some laughed, some just shook their heads. Then, like a miracle, someone lifted her gently. She opened her eyes and saw a man's face, tall, kind-eyed, dressed simple. He carried her like she was light as paper. "Where is her house?" he asked. Nobody answered, but Rose whispered weakly, "The small house, by the junction." He nodded, packed her scattered goods, and carried her straight home. Mama rushed out, panicking as she saw her. "What happened?" she shouted. "She fainted," the man explained, placing her on a bench. He gave Mama the goods. "She needs food and rest." "Thank you," Mama said, surprised. "But who are you?" The man smiled. "Just someone who doesn't like to see a woman suffer alone." Then he turned to go. Rose tried to call him back, but her voice was too weak. Days later, she saw him again. At the well, he greeted her kindly. "How are you feeling now?" Rose looked at him well. His clothes were plain, but there was something about him. He was bold, like he knew more than he showed. "I'm fine," she said softly. "Thank you for helping me." "No thanks needed," he replied. "Sometimes all of us need someone to stand for us." He smiled. "I'm Terry." "Rose," she answered, though it seemed like he already knew. From then, their paths crossed often. He carried her heavy loads, paid her transport when she didn't have enough, even bought Mama's fruits without pricing. But what touched Rose most was his eyes. Unlike others, he never looked at her with pity or insult. He looked at her like she was still worth something. Yet Rose's heart remained careful. But for the first time in weeks, her tears reduced. In the middle of her pain, a small light of hope entered her life, in the form of a stranger whose kindness felt too deep to be ordinary. What Rose did not know was that this stranger carried secrets that would one day shake her life more than Sam's betrayal ever did. For weeks, Rose tried to gather herself back piece by piece. Life was still tough, money was small, shame was heavy. But Terry's quiet presence gave her strength. He never forced himself. Sometimes he sat with her at Mama's stall, joking until she laughed without meaning to. Other times, his words entered deep into her pain. "Rose," he said one evening, "your value is not by how one man treated you. His betrayal does not define you." Rose held back tears. Everybody else saw her as Sam's ex, but Terry saw a woman who still had worth. But Sam was not done disturbing her. One afternoon, he blocked her way again. "Rose," he said softly, "you're still the most attractive woman I've known, and I can't seem to get you off my mind." She looked at him sharply. "Leave my way, Sam," she shouted. He smiled. "Stop pretending. You know what we had was real. Yes, I had to get engaged to Clara for my future, but it doesn't change how I feel. We can still—" Before he could finish, Rose's hand landed on his cheek. The slap sounded loud. "You devil," she barked, tears burning her eyes. "You destroyed my life and still want me to give you my body. God will judge you." His face turned hard. "You'll regret this," he spat, then drove away angrily. That same week, Clara came herself. Rose was arranging fruits when a fine car stopped. Clara came out, dressed in luxury. She looked at Rose from head to toe. "So you're still chasing my man?" she said loudly, making people stare. Rose's hands shook. "I don't know what you're saying," she responded. "Don't act innocent. Sam told me you've been trying to get him back. But let me warn you, stay away from my man. He belongs to me." Rose's breathing became heavy. "I don't want your Sam. Take him and his lies," she managed to say with every courage inside of her. Clara came closer. "Good, because if I see you near him again, I will destroy you. My father's power reaches everywhere." She entered her car and drove off, leaving Rose trembling. Mama rushed to her. "Rose, are you still seeing that useless boy?" she asked. "No, never again, Mama," Rose answers. "Good, then don't mind that girl. God will fight for you," Mama said, but Rose asked herself how long she could continue suffering. That evening, Terry came with a small pack of small chops. "You look worried," he said. Rose sighed. "It's nothing." "It's not nothing." "What did she say?" Rose frowned. "How do you know?" she asked, surprised. Terry let out a faint smile. "Let's just say I know the kind of person Clara is. Her pride is bigger than her value." Rose became suspicious. "Who are you really, Terry?" she asked. "Sometimes you talk like you know things you shouldn't." "Why are you helping me?" Terry stared into her eyes. "Because I see your pain, and because I know pain myself." He pressed the chops into her hands. "Eat tonight. Don't let their wickedness starve both your body and your heart." Then he walked away, leaving Rose with more questions. Weeks passed, and gossip spread everywhere. Some said Rose was still seeing Sam. Others said Terry was her new lover. One evening, she overheard some women talking. Rose is shameless. First she wasted her life on Sam, now she's with that poor wanderer. He too will leave her." Rose bit her lip hard. She felt like only she could retaliate, but what was the use? People had already written her story in the sand. That night, she cried before Terry. She didn't want to tell him why, but Terry already knew. He just said, "You'll be fine, dear. Sometimes life happens, but those who laugh last, laugh best." Rose wept on his shoulder, and those words lightened her up a bit. Meanwhile, something started off in Sam and Clara's life, which turned out not so sweet anymore. Inside the house, Clara treated him like a servant. "Don't forget," she mocked, "without me, you are nothing. Just a poor clerk." Sam swallowed his pride. He felt bittered, but in public he acted happy, always showing off where Rose could see. What he did not know was that while he was sinking inside Clara's trap, something he never expected was preparing to happen in Rose's life, bigger than he could ever dream. And even though Rose still didn't know yet, destiny was already preparing to turn her story around. The day Rose's life turned around started like any other. She was at the market with her mother, arranging fruits, when she heard shouting. People were rushing toward the junction, murmuring and gossiping. "What happened?" Mama asked one woman passing by. "You didn't hear? Sam's fiancé disgraced him in public," the woman replied quickly. Rose's heart raced. Even though she didn't plan to, her legs carried her toward the crowd. At the middle of the noise stood Sam. His shirt was half tucked, his face white with shame. Clara stood tall over him, her voice was sharp like a knife. "You think I didn't know?" she shouted, waving papers in the air. "You've been stealing money from my father's company, using his name to do dirty business. You useless man." Gasps came from the people around. Sam stammered, "Clara, please, it's not like that." "Shut up," she snapped. "I should have listened when they told me you were nothing but a gold digger. You think you can use me? Get out of my face before I call the police." She removed the engagement ring and threw it at him. It rolled in the dust, showing his disgrace. The crowd started murmuring. Some laughed, some shook their heads. Sam bent to pick the ring, but his hands shook so much it fell again. His world was falling apart, and everyone was witnessing his disgrace. Rose stood still, her heart was filled with both pain and a little satisfaction. The same man that mocked her for being poor was now being mocked for being a thief. But the story was not over. Because at the edge of the crowd stood Terry. He walked forward calmly, and the noise reduced immediately. "Clara," he called out in a calm voice, "I warned you long ago that betrayal always comes back. But you never listened." Clara turned, shocked to see who was speaking. "Terry, you?" Sam also looked up, confused. "Who are you to talk here?" he said proudly. Terry's eyes turned to him, hot like fire. "I am the man you should have feared, boy. The man whose life you almost destroyed years ago, and now the man who has the power to end you." The crowd started whispering. Rose's heart raced. What was Terry saying? She wondered, confused. Terry turned, and when his eyes met Rose's, they became soft. "But life is strange," he continued. "Because in your wickedness, Sam, you threw away a diamond while chasing stones, and in her pain, Rose met me." The people murmured even louder this time, confused at what he was saying. Then, as if planned, big flashy cars drove in. Men in suits came out, stepped out bowing slightly to Terry. The crowd murmured in surprise. "Who is this man?" But then it was as though some person's eyes opened and they finally recognized him. "Wait, is that not Honorable Owen's son? The billionaire that owns half of this city? Oh goodness, so this simple man was him all this while." Rose's knees felt weak. She looked at Terry and her lips shook as she spoke. "Terry, is this true?" He smiled gently. "Yes, Rose. My real name is Terry Owen. I come from wealth, far more than Sam or Clara can ever dream of. But after my own heartbreak from this same Clara here, I chose to live simply, to see people for who they are, not what they have." He moved closer, holding Rose's shaking hands. "And in you, I found what money cannot buy. I found loyalty, strength, and a heart that stayed pure even when the world broke it." Tears fell from Rose's eyes, but for once they were tears of relief. Sam staggered back and spoke in a shaky voice. "No, Rose, you're both in love." Terry turned to him. His tone was calm but sharp. "Yes, the same Rose you mocked, insulted and rejected, the same woman you said was not on your level. Today she is far above you, and you can never humiliate her again." The crowd burst into cheers, while some mocked and laughed at Sam's shame. Sam dropped to his knees, seeing that he had lost woefully, his pride broken. "Rose, forgive me, please. I was blind. Just give me one more chance," he begged. Rose looked at him. Her voice was strong and full of dignity. "No, Sam. When I gave you everything, you treated me like dirt. Now that I have found my value, you crawl back? No. This is your harvest. Eat it." She turned back to Terry, and he gave her a warm hug. One you'd say, "I'll always be by your side." And from that moment, Rose walked into her community, no longer the broken girl people pitied, but a woman of dignity and honor. Neighbors who once mocked her now stared in shock. Mama cried tears of joy, thanking God for finally remembering them. And Sam, he became what he always feared, a lesson to others, a man who threw away true love for greed and ended up with nothing. Dear friends, this story reminds us that life is never straight. It bends with lies, betrayal, heartbreak, and sudden twists. Life will always test us, but those who stand strong in the storm will rise at the right time. Rose gave her all to someone who despised her, yet in her lowest moment, she was lifted. If this story touched you, don't just keep it to yourself. Share it with your friends and family so they too can learn from Rose's journey of betrayal, survival, and victory. And subscribe to Roots of the African Tales for more heartwarming stories.